Mary Priscilla Presley. Now the LED screen outside of Planet Hollywood, the largest LED screen in the world, bigger than the one in Times Square. And the Taco Bell out front of Planet Hollywood, well, that's not any ordinary Taco Bell. There you can get tequila shots, and over tacos and tequila, you and your honey can say I do. It becomes your own private wedding chapel. Talk about hearing the bells. See what I did there? Talk about? Yeah, funny. Now, Planet Hollywood, when the property was taken over in early 2000, John Goodman and the cast of Wild Hogs, who rode their Harley Davidsons inside to cut ceremony ribbon. Now, Planet Hollywood inside is now known for having the Miracle Mile shops, 2.5 miles worth of retail therapy. This is where you're going to find one of my favorite pizzerias, a place called Pinup Pizza. I really love the pinup art, especially seeing the old Betty Page art. Now, if you ever get to see pinup art and you'll see the girl standing in a mushroom cloud kind of stance, that's all drawing back to the pinup competitions we held in the desert for Miss Atomic Bomb. And this is where you actually get the saying blonde bombshell, because Miss Atomic Bomb was usually a blonde, and it all came from the atomic bomb pageants that we had here in Vegas. The more you know, guys, because knowledge is power. Now, also inside of Planet Hollywood, you're going to have the Gordon Ramsay burger. Now, Gordon Ramsay burger and Gordon Ramsay fish and chips, if you're a fan, those are your budget-friendly Gordon Ramsay options. And it is rumored that he is in town this week. So, guys, because why would you need to? Because we have flat shoe vending machines here at Planet Hollywood. This is also where you're going to find your art vending machines. Now, I love the art vending machines because all the artwork is done by local Las Vegas artists, and everything that you put into the machine goes to establish all the art community into the art community here in the city. So it's a great way to support us. And as we come on out, again, this is all part of the Formula One racetrack. This is where they're going to be racing too. And when we come to this little intersection, guys, when we're turning in, inside and out. Inside, we even have our own version of the Lovelock Bridge. Just like the Lovelock Bridge in Paris, France, ours also had foundational issues. No, even though you can no longer add a lock to the bridge itself, you are able to write a note, seal it up with a kiss, and put it on the bridge, since a piece of paper weighs a lot less than a lock actually does. Year, that's how long it will take you to cover the Bellagio Fountain Show. So we need to preserve that water as much as possible. We have probably another 5 years on that fountain show. It is a beautiful day, even though it's hot. So thank you guys for enjoying it with me. Now, coming on to the Horseshoe. Now, the Horseshoe on the left-hand side, formerly known as Bally's, and I mean formerly known as in it's changed its name about 2 weeks ago to the Horseshoe. So if I confuse the two, I apologize. I'm still getting used to the name change myself. Now, the Horseshoe originally started where Binion stands today in 1938. This was the first legal hotel and casino. It started with the World Series of Poker with a $17,000 bond. Now, the World Series of Poker does plan to come back in December. And I want y'all to this open window concept the Horseshoe has going on here. Back in the 1970s, this was designed to be the most energy efficient building on the boulevard. This was the original MGM Grand Hotel. That was until 1982, when one of the biggest hotel fires in history broke out. When this happened, it changed our federal laws, where we now have to have a fire evacuation plan on the backs of all the hotel doors because of the fire that happened while this building was originally MGM Grand. Bally's took over in 1985. Inside nowadays, you'll still see some of the white marble remaining from the Bally's lobby. Now, that white marble was actually a gift from Bally's or the Horseshoe's across the street neighbor, the Bellagio Hotel, in 1990. Tall. We beat the London Eye by just 100 feet. 28 glass pods make up the outside of the high roller. 35 people can fit into each one of these pods. Now, the pods that you see that are wrapped in maroon, those are going to be your open bar pods, which means for the duration of the ride, that is a full 30 minutes. That becomes your own open bar. But be warned, if you do that excursion, there are no bathrooms on those pods, so use before you go. Now, you can run out the lights of the high roller, lighting them pink or blue for a gender reveal. Or you and your honey can go to the tippy top, pop a bottle of champagne, and say, I do. It becomes your own private wedding chapels. I wouldn't recommend it though, because it is all downhill from there. Now, this is our stop for the Link, the High Roller, the Flamingo, Caesar's Palace, Bally's, or excuse me, the Horseshoe, the Bellagio, the Paris Hotel. And you are able to walk over to the Venetian from here. Do you have any friends planning to get off here at the Link? All right, guys. Well, I hope y'all have enjoyed the tour. My name is Lindsay. If you did like the tour and ever want to get back on my bus, then on my thank you box, you'll see my two flamingos, Tipsy and Mipsy. That's how you can tell it is Lindsay's bus. Alrighty, guys, have a wonderful day for those leaving. Go Gamble. It is the only church that continues to do service on the boulevard and only church in the world that takes gambling casino tokens as a church offering. You'll see that I absolutely love the architecture and the murals inside this church. Now the souvenir shops and these food stores here, guys, these are going to be probably your cheapest eats here on the Vegas Boulevard. This is because these places are not connected to a hotel or casino. I want y'all to get in the habit when you see a gaming machine, when you see a card table, even if you see somebody with dice, you're going to be paying a lot more than you normally would because the casinos need their dime too. So the great place to go grab something to eat. Now coming up on the right hand side, you're going to see the Peppermill. Now the Peppermill's been around since the 1970s, but it will unlock nostalgia you didn't even know you had in your brain, because until 1997 this was the only cafe in Las Vegas that had filming rights inside. So movies like Casino, Showgirls, even the Viva Rock Vegas movie, the Flintstone movie, was filmed inside the Peppermill. Now the Las Vegas Convention Center, our largest convention center we have here in town, it extends all the way back to the Westgate. Now the Westgate was the old Intercontinental Hilton Hotel where Elvis lived and stayed and when he performed here in Vegas. In fact, if you look underneath the STG of the Westgate, you're going to see a section of those blacked out windows. That would be the Tuscany Suite where Elvis lived when he performed here in Las Vegas. Now, not many people know this about Elvis. When he performed in Vegas in Paradise, he never got paid for many of his performances. This is because his manager had a drinking issue and a gambling problem. Elvis, being the kind of man he was, said, as long as you accrue these debts, my friend, I'll cover you by performing for free. Elvis's manager took advantage of this for 5 years, guys. Elvis never getting paid for one of his performances. But this is actually what had the snowball effect for our entertainment laws here in Las Vegas. Nowadays, all of our entertainers have to be provided housing for as long as they have headlining performances, and they have to be paid whether they be on stage or not. That means that last year when Adele canceled all 9 months of her performances, she got paid for each and every one of them that she canceled. Now, to put mind blown about this building, when they were designing it in 2009, the architects did not account for the windstorms or the wind that we have here in Vegas. Our normal winds can get up from 55, 60, 70 miles an hour. Now, the way they designed the building, this horseshoe shape, the wind was actually catching on to those windows, and you can see some of those windows that have been blown out due to the windstorms being here in the city. They just reinforced the windows. Back then it was quite a gamble just to be coming down here. They're slowly finishing up those windows. When they do, I don't know what I'm really going to talk about on the way back here. Now, the Sahara. The Sahara was built in 1952. This is where Sammy Davis Jr. got his beginnings as a solo performer on the Las Vegas Boulevard, outselling Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin each time he went on stage. Why? Because Sammy could do something Frank and Dean couldn't do, which was move his hips and dance. Now, it is rumored that Sammy Davis Jr. is coming to Las Vegas, and he's going to be performing over at the Star Lounge here over at the Sahara. I just got that notification. So I would be checking out their roster. You might see a familiar face. Now, in 2014, the Sahara had the audacity to change their name to SLS, which stood for Service, Luxury, and Style. The whole city of Vegas went, ew, terrible name, change it back immediately. Building to bring you back up, just to teeter-totter you off the edge 4 more times. Admittingly, this is the ride that I found out I was pregnant with my second child with after riding. He was a tummy jump that just would not go down. But no worries, guys. He's completely fine. He just walks a little crooked. We are working on it, though. Now, the other ride on the back of the strap would be the ice cream. You start off the ice cream sitting in its little claw hand, thinking to yourself, you make good life decisions. You soon find out you're wrong. As you are sitting down, its claw hand begins to spin you. As it starts to spin you, it opens itself slowly, taking you from a sitting position to a Superman laying position, forcing you to look down. Then it takes said claw hand and extends its reach to the outside of the building. You know, enough to get the wind between your toes. Who's ready to go roller coastering? No worries if you're not into faster than you will at home due to our dry climate. So keep yourself safe, keep yourself nice and hydrated. I know Bud Light might taste like water, but it's not going to keep you safe. So make sure you're drinking your water today. Now, the Las Vegas sign, which separates the city of Paradise, which we're in right now, and the city of Las Vegas. Now get out your cameras because we want to make sure we get good pictures of the city sign. It cost our city $2.5 million to build. So this is why I really want to make sure we get good pictures of the sign. This is my taxes at work here, guys. And it looks like we're going to be hitting some traffic. We might be hitting the classic car parade that's going to be coming through Las Vegas. This weekend is Viva Rock Vegas. This is a rockabilly and pin-up convention. So you'll be seeing a lot of those old style cars coming around the city. Oh, if you like the pin-up stuff, the New Orleans Hotel this week, that is where you want to be. Now, going into the Arts District and coming into the city of Las Vegas, I think we need to get into the Vegas spirit as we enter into the city of Vegas. So when I say Viva, y'all say Las Vegas. Viva! Welcome to the city of Las Vegas, guys. Now, greeting us into the city, you're going to see my 2 showgirls, Cookie and Coco. Cookie and Coco are to be representative of the 2 showgirls that used to travel at the hip of our mayor, Oscar Goodman. He would never be caught anywhere without a showgirl at his side and a martini in his hand. Now, Oscar Goodman got his beginnings here in Las Vegas as the criminal defense attorney for the mafia. Now, we liked him so much, we made him mayor. And we liked his family so much, his wife is now mayor today. Isn't that sweet? Now, the Arts District. The Arts District is what they're calling for ground zero for New Vegas. The idea is to take all the foot traffic down from Caesar's Palace through the Arts District to the old parts of the Strip. The Arts District is where we're hoping everyone and their mother comes to visit in the next 2 years. The Arts District is also our Antiques District of Las Vegas. Keep in mind, Las Vegas is a city full of weirdos, and we bring our weird stuff with us. The Arts District is where you're going to find the most unique items you'll find nowhere else. Now, admittingly, when we drive through the Arts District, you're going to be like, Lindsay, why are you so excited to show us the Arts District? This place looks like a wreck. But I want you all to remember what Las Vegas is. The city of hidden speakeasies. What you see isn't always what you get. There's more that meets the eye here, especially here in the Arts District. Now, on the first Friday of every month, we actually shut down this main street, opening the sidewalks up for vendors and artists to sell their goods, making it more all about Las Vegas community. This is also where you're going to find Las Vegas's community theater and the local art galleries. Now, the art galleries are featured artists that you'll see as we're driving through the arts district. In the alleys, you'll see these murals done, all done by the local artists featured in the galleries. Now, once we get into the arts district, which will be after this next stoplight, you're going to see on the left a giant yellow still. This is for the newest brewery here in Las Vegas called Able Baker. I like Able Baker for a few reasons. One, the emblem reminds me of Howard the Duck, and every time I drive by it makes me happy. Two, that it has some of the best barbecue here in Las Vegas, and that's saying a lot coming from a native Texan. And three, Able Baker is actually named after the first two atomic bombs, AB, to drop here in Las Vegas. Keep in mind, the atomic testing history from 1951 to 1958 was the reason why most people came to visit the city of Vegas. You and your honey can pop a bottle of champagne, watch the bombs being dropped in the desert, and hotels used to sell bus tours similar to this one after the bombs were dropped, just so you could see the devastation. This is before we learned that nuclear poisoning could kill us. Now, on the right hand side, you also have Wise Guys Comedy. Richard Pryor, Joan Rivers, comedic legends have graced the stages over at Wise Guys Comedy. If you are here Thursday and Saturday, I'd be checking their roster. You might see a familiar face. Now, we are in a transition period over here in the Arts District, but this is where you're going to find a lot of the bars, cool restaurants. I will say over here at the bar Rebar, with your Big Bus ticket, you do get a free drink at Rebar. What? Somebody's trying to bring you down to the local Las Vegas community? Who would have done that for you? Thank you, Lindsay. You're welcome, guys. This is where you're going to connect with your local Las Vegas prices as well. What you see on Fremont and what you see on this strip, that is not what us locals pay every single day. We like to live and enjoy our lives too here, guys, without living in a box. This is where you're going to find your local Las Vegas prices, where you're going to find some of your best brunch options as well. Over here at a place called Makers and Finders, best empanadas in the city. If we went 2 streets over, we'd be hitting Tacotarian, vegan tacos. You want to hear me talking about that about 2 weeks ago on my bus? Then I became a believer, ate everything on the menu. Absolutely delicious over at Tacotarian. Soul Belly, this is John Taffer's restaurant from the show Bar Rescue. And again, this is where you're going to get off for your local food, bars, and restaurant areas. Do we have any friends planning to get off here in the Arts District? Our next stop will be the Mob Museum and Fremont Street. Favorite museums here in Las Vegas, the Burlesque Hall of Fame. Now, the Burlesque Hall of Fame is an all-ages museum. Talks about the art of burlesque, not just within Las Vegas, but the United States. And what I find so special about the Burlesque Hall of Fame is the same performers that are in their exhibits still perform for the stages for the Burlesque Hall of Fame today. Unfortunately, we just lost one of our burlesque legends, Miss Bambi Jones, at the age of 91 years old. She was performing a week before her death, and she was one of my favorite performers here in the city. Now, Vegas as a whole all started by the Paiute Native American tribes. They would split their time between here in the valley and the mountains. When it got too hot in the valley, they would retreat to the mountaintops, and when the snow started to fall, they would come down here to the valley. That was until the 1800s, when the Spaniards came to Las Vegas, giving Las Vegas its name, Las Vegas, naming us after the meadows. If we look to the left and look to the right, what are we missing? The meadows. That's very observant. Yes, this is all thanks to the Union Pacific Railroad coming in 1906 and industrializing the city, making us a refrigeration station between Los Angeles and Salt Lake, a way for the railroad to stop to make sure nothing on their long journey got spoiled, building ice houses like this one coming up on the left-hand side. Now, to incentivize most of these railroad workers to move to Las Vegas, the railroad teamed up with the Bank of Nevada to sell the land of Vegas to the workers at very cheap prices. Now, most of these workers came from Salt Lake City and happened to be Mormon. Yes, it was the Mormons who founded the city of Las Vegas. And you notice that each time the railroad came through, there was 9 hours of layover with absolutely nothing to do. This is when speakeasies started to take hold of the city. Not just any ordinary speakeasies, but these themed Western speakeasies, because what goes better with illegal gambling, illegal drinking, and we're just going to call it illegal. then that started the creation of the Hoover Dam. After the Hoover Dam was completed in 1935, bam, Vegas had water, but nobody to come live in the city. So this is when the Supreme Court of Nevada made some drastic decisions. They decided to legalize gambling, lift prohibition, come up with the invention of the quickie divorce, and even legalize paid consent here in Vegas. As you can imagine, then Vegas became very, very popular. Not just with average people like you and I, but with the mafia as well. Why was the mob so attracted to Vegas? What they used to do in the shadows of New York and Chicago, they can now do here out in the open and become honest, successful businessmen. Now, one mobster in particular saw a huge opportunity in Vegas, a mobster named Mr. Bugsy Siegel. Now, Bugsy opened the Flamingo in 1946. In order to open up the Flamingo, he needed to borrow money from the Mormons and the Mafia to do so. But before opening up the Flamingo, Bugsy had a vision to put casino after casino, one right after the other. That made it easier for money to be laundered, and just in case his friends came to visit, they were able to move about with anyone knowing the wiser. Now, Bugsy would never get to see his idea for Fremont really come to fruition because he was only able to pay back one of the groups he borrowed money from, and it wasn't the group he fun. Now, I am going to take a break on our history lesson to get into a little more lighter part of Las Vegas. And before I do so, I need to get us into the wedding spirit. So finish this song for me, if you will. Go into the chapel and I'm gonna get married. For those who played along, thank you so much. And just in time too, because on the left hand side we do have one of our drive-through wedding chapels of Las Vegas for the commitment on the go. Now, a little warning of Fremont Street, if you do plan to visit Fremont Street, it ain't like Sesame Street. There you're gonna find some interesting characters. 1932. Across the way, you're going to see the first grammar school built here in Las Vegas, built in 1935. It is now a school for the performing arts. And what I like about the grammar school is when we drive on by, look at in the back of their courtyard, you're going to see two statues. One is of the Liberty Bell, and one is of our old mayor, Oscar Goodman, with that martini in his hand. So I do find it's fun as a callback. And then you have our courthouse built in 2015. Now, Fremont Street, if you want to look for a historic side of Fremont Street, find our mob hotels, Binion's, the El Cortez, the Four Queens, and the Apache. Those are going to be your main mob hotels. And as we drive by this building on the right-hand side, I always like to brighten people's day. So everybody look on to the right and wave to the people inside, making them have a good day. Hi, guys. This is the FBI building. I just like them to know that I am watching them like I know they're watching me. Now, Fremont Street, again, really established, it started getting established in the 1920s. We didn't add the first traffic light until 1947, and we started paving it in 1947. Now, on the left-hand side, you have the D Hotel, not a historic hotel, been around since 1986, but according to the Guinness Book of World Records, this holds a title for best chili hot dog in the world. Now, on Fremont Street, you're going to find Slotzilla, the United States' largest zip line, plus the Fremont Show light show. Now, this light show starts every day at 6 p.m., goes until 2 a.m. midnight, or 2 a.m. on top of the hour. Now, to get to Fremont Street, you will be exiting our next stop, which is the Mob Museum. Now, the Mob Museum, it is the old courthouse where they prosecuted a lot of the mobsters they talk about inside. They didn't have to go too far for the artifacts. I love the Mob Museum because you learn about criminology and mobsters in Las Vegas as a whole. I also love it because downstairs in the Mob Museum basement, there is a hidden speakeasy, which houses some of the best charcuterie boards in Las Vegas, and it is a moonshine tasting room. And if you don't know what moonshine is, it is gasoline you can drink. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is our stop for the Mob Museum. Do we have any friends planning to get off here at the Mob Museum? All right, if you are getting off here, I hope you've had a wonderful journey with me. My name is Lindsay. Hope you've had a good day. To ever get back on my bus, remember his own hotel and casino. Now, everyone look to the left-hand side when we pass Minions right now. Y'all will see the Aztec Inn Casino on the left. Now, the Aztec Inn Casino is known for being the most haunted hotel on Fremont Street. Everybody say, ooh. I know, ghost stories. The Apache Hotel was well known as a mob hotel. If the mafia was mad at you, knew you were going to the fourth floor, and unfortunately not coming back down. Why people continue going to the fourth floor knowing the mob was mad at them is beyond me. Now, the staff had reported arguing and screaming coming from that fourth floor when no one was around. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Ghost stories. Now hearing that ghost story, how many people plan to be visiting that fourth floor? If you're like, Lindsay, no, why would you tell me such a scary story? Guys, you're in a city founded by crime, business, and entertainment. Everywhere you go, it's just going to have a little story to it. But that's what I love about Las Vegas. Not that everywhere you go is haunted, but everywhere you go just has a story to it. Especially coming down this main street which we're about to turn on, known as Glitter Gulch. Glitter Gulch's sole purpose was to be as bright, to be as loud, and as obnoxious as possible, to attract all the cars off the freeway to go gamble here on Fremont Street. A lot of the times Glitter Gulch will be depicted in old Las Vegas movies when the main character's walking down the dark alleyway with the glitz and the glamour and the giant neon cowboy waving hello. Does anyone know what kind of montage I'm talking about? Some heads are shaking. Yes, you're about to have your main character moment. Now that giant neon cowboy was Mr. Vegas Vic. He is a thing. He's been around since 1954. He stood where the Plaza Hotel now stands today and resides on the pedestrian side of Fremont Street. Now his wife, Miss Vegas Vicky, oh yeah, even our neon signs here get married. She is our giant neon cowgirl sign. He used to guard the woohoo houses down on Fremont in the 80s. Now Vegas Vicky resides inside of Circa. Circa is our newest hotel to be opened in 2020, and I know what a lot of us think. What a great year to open up a hotel. I'm sure they did very well in their first year. Circa is home of the world's largest permanent sport book and Stadium Swim, the only temperature-controlled pool on Fremont Street. On the right-hand side, the Plaza. If the Plaza looks familiar, this is from Back to the Future 2. This was Biff's hotel where he drops Michael J. Fox from the tippy top. Now, Golden Gate. Golden Gate was our first hotel to open in 1906. This is where our first telephone was installed underneath the name Hotel Nevada. Inside of Golden Gate nowadays, you'll actually see the original slot machines from the 1930s on display and the bottles that they found inside the walls. Now back then, they used to hire railroad workers to do construction. The railroad workers would often drink on the job, and so to avoid the boss finding out, they would hide the bottles in the wall, seal them up, and then move on to the next section. You can find them all on display over at the Golden Gate. Now over here at the Golden Nugget, been around since 1948. Inside the Golden Nugget houses the largest Golden Nugget ever to be found this far. A Golden Nugget weighing a whopping 61 pounds. Everybody say wow. I know, so big. Now on the right hand side, you're going to see this tall white building. This is going to be the Smiths Performing Arts Center. If you want to see something fancy like a Broadway play or the Las Vegas Symphony, this is where you're going to go. On the left hand side, this Art Deco building we're coming next to, this is our City Hall. Our City Hall, I'm proud to say, is completely solar powered. 150 solar panels power the City Hall and the courthouse across the way. Now if we look up above, you'll see that platform. That is our mayor's office. That is Carolyn Goodman's office. For your marriage licenses and quickie divorces that are available every day from 8 a.m. to 12 midnight. Midnight is when our City Hall closes down. We even have our own light show. Yes, it's Vegas. Even our City Hall has a light show called Rain. Now, I'll talk about those quickie divorces in just a second. For those who are just joining me on Fremont Street, we learned that the quickie divorce was a way for the Supreme Court of Nevada to bring in people into Las Vegas, getting them to stay. And I'll talk about that. I just want to make sure I have enough time to talk about this building coming up on the right-hand side. Now, on the far right-hand side, you're going to see a building that looks like a tin can crushed. This is the Lou Rove Brain Center. Goodness forbid something happens to you, like you develop Alzheimer's disease, Huntington's disease, or you get into a car accident, this is where your doctor is more than likely going to send you. Everything from its staircase to the windows are designed as a therapy treatment to give your cognitive function back in your hands and feet after an accident. There are 8 centers around the United States, all specializing in different areas of the body. It just so happened Las Vegas got the brain. I thought we'd have gotten the liver, but that would have been way too on the nose for us. So the Quickie Divorce. So the Quickie Divorce was implemented in 1939, a way for people to come to Las Vegas and getting them to stay in the city. Before 1939, to be divorced in the United States, you needed to be married for at least 5 years or had a written recommendation letter from somebody higher up in your community. Vegas said, nah, don't worry about it. All you gotta do is live in the city for 6 weeks. 6 weeks is all it took. And as you can imagine, in 1939, all these unhappy couples then flocked to the city of Las Vegas. Now, during that 6 weeks time, they'd usually meet somebody else, fall in love, and as soon as they were granted that divorce, bam, get remarried, and then get sick of that person. 6 weeks later, bam, get remarried. And this cycle is actually what sparked our wedding industry here in Vegas. Now we have over 175 different wedding chapels throughout Vegas and Paradise, and this is not including the chapels that are connected to things like the Planet Hollywood's Taco Bell, Denny's on Fremont Street, or if anyone is ready to take the plunge into holy matrimony right now, your tour guide is ordained to do weddings here on the bus. So we are able to roll in commitment if you would like. Now, I find it sweet that we started with the invention of the Quickie Divorce, but according to a 2022 statistic, if you get married here in Las Vegas, you do have a higher probability of staying together throughout your lifetime. Now, our busiest wedding season is from May till October. In that time frame, we have 3,000 people a day either renewing their vows or getting married. And if you're not ready to take the plunge into marital bliss, that is also okay. Places like Bliss Wedding Chapel in the city, they'll actually stage a wedding photo for you so you can send a heart attack back home to your friends and family. And if you can't find a groom or bride, no worries. They do have staff that is provided for you for that reason. Now, you can't tell it from nowadays, but in the 1930s, 1940s, and 1950s, this whole area was the high-end real estate of Las Vegas. If you had a big name in crime, business, and entertainment, you had a home close by. In fact, if we went 2 streets over, we'd be hitting the Zak Bagans Haunted Museum. Now, the Zak Bagans Haunted Museum in the 1932, most expensive home built here in Las Vegas. By 1972, the home was completely abandoned, making way for the Satanic Temple to move in, thus now making it perfect for the Zak Bagans Haunted Museum. Now, the reason why this area went through so many renovations and changes and ended up becoming trail was all due to the Showgirls movie.
വരുന്നതേ ഉള്ളൂ, വളരുന്നതേ ഉള്ളൂ, സിറ്റിയെ വളരുന്നതേ ഉള്ളൂ.
On the road again. All right, guys, thank you all so much for coming on the big bus. My name is Lindsay. Downstairs is Chris. Yeah, that thing's probably gonna fly off. Don't worry. Tighten it as much as you can because the wind will catch it. Now, coming up on the right-hand side, you'll see the Gold Skull Tattoo Shop. This is where Ink Masters is filmed. We're coming in behind Bonita Souvenir and Gift Shop, largest souvenir and gift shop in the world. Fun story, it's not. It just happens to be its full LLC name. Now, once we get through this intersection, I apologize because it is going to be a quick sight to see, but I think it's a cool sight to see when it comes to Las Vegas history, one of those kind of staple pieces of Vegas. Now, on the same street as Bonita's Souvenir and Gift Shop, on the far right-hand side, you're going to see a small golden sign for the Golden Steer Steakhouse. Now, the steakhouse has been a staple here since 1958. This is where Howard Hughes and Stephen Wynn used to go to negotiate their business deals. And this was a huge staple restaurant for the mafia. In fact, nowadays you can still go into the back rooms and you'll see these rooms that actually have secret passageways that lead out to the alleys being made for getaways notice. Now, when the Golden Steer would get the calls from the mob families being like, hey, get the room ready, it was the Golden Steer's then responsibility to call the newspaper. And what they would do to tell them to what mob families were in town. And what the newspapers would do was they would print out a poker chip on the front page of the newspaper. And on that poker chip would have as many stripes as family members were in town. And the middle of the poker chip would have the family crest emblem. So if you knew a particular mob family was in town and mad at you, you knew the weekends you were not going to be going out of your house. Now, when Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin were the entertainment directors here in Las Vegas from 1958 to 1968, you couldn't even fathom getting onto a Vegas stage without impressing them by taking them out to the Golden Steer Steakhouse. And not only did you have to eat with the gentlemen, you had to perform for them later. And if you know how they drank, you knew you were in for a performance of a lifetime. Now, admittingly, the Golden Steer is a very treat yourself kind of restaurant, but as far as Las Vegas history goes, enjoy a basket of bread, a glass of water, and just soak up the history. Now, what I love about the Golden Steer is it has staff that's been there since they were 15 years old. Long has since been retired, but the gentlemen still come in and the restaurant just hands them a microphone and they just talk about who they've seen and who they've served at the Golden Steer Steakhouse. It's a really cool way to be a part of Vegas history. And next to the Golden Steer Steakhouse, you're going to see the restaurant, the bar, the Mint. Now, the Mint originally started in 1938 as a hotel on Fremont Street. This is what remains of it. Now, the Mint was once owned by Dean Martin himself. The interior design is all Dean Martin. They kept it up. It's really cool to see. And the Mint this Saturday is actually doing the burlesque bingo of Las Vegas. How's all the pinup stars for Viva Las Vegas, our pinup convention that is in town this week? They'll all be performing there. Tickets are like $15 a piece too, guys, so you get big Vegas entertainment for a lot less price. Now, the Sky Plaza, if you're wondering how much it costs to live here on the boulevard, you're looking at $1 million for a studio apartment. So that's what you're looking at in there. Coming on to the Circus Circus. When we pass by Circus Circus, you're going to see the large clown out front. Now, that is Lucky. When we pass by Lucky, make sure you give him a wave and blow him a kiss. He's been keeping us lucky since 1968 and sure to bring you luck as well. Now, Circus Circus is home of the world's largest permanent circus tent, where they have free circus acts on top of every hour. What a free Las Vegas show to enjoy. Maybe you should go see it. Maybe you should. This is also home of the world's largest indoor amusement theme park. I love this theme park, and since it's probably going to be breaking 95 to 100 this week, this comes in handy dandy information of where to go somewhere nice and cool to hang out. Now, Circus Circus will unleash the kid in you. This is where you're going to find the boardwalk full of fun arcade games, or as I like to call it, a kid's casino with the better prizes of it being a stuffed animal. Now, this is also where movies like James Bond's Diamonds Are Forever, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and Austin Powers were filmed. Yeah, baby, happened right here inside of Resort World. Real fast, do I have any friends planning to get off here at Resort World? This is where you're okay, you are. This is going to be your stop for Circus Circus. Now, Resort World. Resort World stands, I'm going to tell you some great places to see inside Resort World. Now, Resort World stands where the old Stardust Hotel used to be. Now, the Stardust sign can still be found inside Resort World's doors, as well as Liberace's famous mirrored piano and some cars from his personal collection. Now, Resort World, or I should say the Stardust, I would say. Okay, this part of the tour has really nothing to do with Las Vegas history. Admittingly, I just like warm and fuzzy moments in Las Vegas, and I have the microphone, so bear with me. So, Katy Perry's grandmother was actually the costume designer for the showgirls for the Stardust. Her costumes are still on display today over at the Showgirl Museums, and I found it to be really cool that when Resort World opened its doors of June of 2021, to this day, they have Katy Perry as their headlining performer, performing in the same space that her grandmother once designed costumes. So I like it when things come all warm and fuzzy like that in Vegas here. Now, Resort World is a brain baby between the Malaysian Gaming Corporation and the Hilton Conrad. It is the most expensive hotel to be built on the boulevard this far, costing $4.3 billion to build. This is the most technologically advanced hotel and home of all the prestigious artworks of Las Vegas. Because it's a celebration of all world's cultures, we have artists from all over featured, including one of my favorite glass blowers that you've probably seen many of his artworks around the city, a glass blower named Chihuly, most famously known for doing the Bellagio lobby. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with the Bellagio lobby, looks like there's something to add onto your Las Vegas to-do list. Now, inside of Resort World, you're going to have some of the best restaurants here in the city. This is also where you're going to find Hello Kitty Cafe, 1 out of 2 here in Vegas, over here at Resort World, and the other one is at the Park by MGM. It is a beautiful day. Just having a moment of gratitude. Thank you guys for joining up with me. And as we come on through here, I know we had some people getting off, and let me see if we have anyone getting on. Doesn't look like it. But if you are getting off here, I hope y'all have enjoyed the tour. My name is Lindsay. Have a wonderful day and enjoy Las Vegas. Real fast, I know I have some people downstairs getting off. Do I have anyone up here getting off for Treasure Island? Okay. All I ask is you wait for that sound of the bus. That way we know it's safe to move about the cabin.
കഴിച്ചിട്ട് റെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് വീട്ടിൽ വന്നു
Wonderful natural sounds of the Las Vegas Boulevard. This is exactly what you want in a sound machine at home. Now, the only thing that that plans to stay remaining from the Mirage would be the hotel tower itself. And rumors have it that they are going to move the Love Circus Soleil show by the Beatles. This is the best Circus Soleil show, in my opinion. It's so great. Now, on the left-hand side, Casino Royale Hotel. 30% more payouts in this hotel than any hotel on the boulevard. And this is like, back in the 70s, this was like the most expensive real estate on the Vegas Boulevard. This might explain why this McDonald's on the left only has one arch. They could only afford the one. Now, because the Caesar Forum shops, high-end luxury shops in here, this is where in the movie Showgirls, she kept calling Versace Versace, happened inside those doors. Beautiful inside and out. Speaking of beautiful, we see Donny Osmond's beautiful mug that we're going to be passing by on the right-hand side where we see that. That is where the movie The Hangover was filmed, with Tyson the Tiger and the bachelor party all took place on the tippy top of that building. Now, originally, Caesar's Palace started with 14 stories and 265 rooms, and you'll actually see those 4 golden pillars as we drive on by, which represents the original building. The expansion now is 3,995. Quite the big difference from its original opening. Gorgeous hotel inside and out. Definitely a staple to walk on through. We'll be talking a little bit more about that in just a moment. Now on the left-hand side, we're going to be passing by the Link Promenade. The Link Promenade is where you're going to find the smallest zip line here in Las Vegas and where you're going to find the dry ice bar. It is hot outside, so the dry ice bar is a really cool way to cool off because it is a bar completely made out of ice. And you have to change into a special jacket just to enjoy it. It's a really neat experience if you get a chance. It's one of those only here in Vegas kind of things. Now we're coming to the Flamingo. Now the Flamingo was built in 1945 by the mobster named Mr. Bugsy Siegel. Bugsy opened the Flamingo for his gambling-loving girlfriend, Miss Virginia Hill. He named the Flamingo after Virginia because she had these beautiful long legs like a flamingo. Everybody say, aw. I know, how romantic. He even put a bird aviary in the back with actual flamingos that you can see to this day. I love the flamingo just walking through because it has so much mob history inside. This is also where you see the advertisement for RuPaul's Drag Race Live. Now if you're a fan of Drag Race, this is where you can go find the girls over performing at the Garden to a face-to-face drag brunch. So you can avoid just going to the Flamingo and just seeing their stars face-to-face. And the Garden is actually voted Las Vegas's #1 brunch spot. It's why my husband reluctantly takes me there every 2 months because as I'm handing $1 to my favorite drag star, he's in the corner eating a sandwich being like, this is delicious. But you know, we always have something for everyone here in Vegas. Now on the right hand side, what they're setting up for is the new Transformers movie. We're actually going to be having the premiere here over at Caesars Palace. Now a lot of people don't know this when it comes to filming here in Las Vegas. When films film inside the hotels and casinos, not only do they have to pay for the time that they spent renting the space, they also have to pay for the money that might have been lost during the time of filming. So that is a lot of money throughout those hotels. The reason why is because when the films when filming happens, they have to in order to do any film here in the city. It's a lot less expensive just to be building a filming set than actually going into the hotels. Now on the right hand side, we do have the Caesar Palace fountains. In 1967, Evel Knievel actually attempted to jump over the Caesar Palace fountain. And there's a key word I use there. Attempted. He was able to clear the fountain and able to stick the landing, which is important when it comes to stunt work, but no worries, he was able to ride again 2 years later after repairing his. One of my suggestions would be go take a nap before you go out. Just my natural way of being. Now coming on to the Bellagio. The Bellagio built in 1998, a Steve Wynn creation. Think of it like this free show here in Las Vegas came from that brilliant mind of Stephen Wynn. You have 2,000 individual fountainheads working simultaneously together, streaming 60 feet up in the air to create the illusion of the fountain show. Now, the Bellagio has a fine art gallery inside, plus a beautiful botanical garden. Walk through the botanical garden at least once, guys. No two designs are ever alike, and they change it out seasonally. Absolutely gorgeous. This is also where you're going to find one of my favorite restaurants here in Las Vegas, a place called Mayfair Supper Club. Now, it's the best view of the fountain show, and as you are eating, you have aerial artists performing above you. It takes you back to a 1950s speakeasy. So lovely in. Now, I often get asked, Lindsay, why is the Cosmopolitan so big? Because it's full of secrets. Secret rooms, secret casinos, and restaurants. This is all due to the Jockey Club, high-rise living facilities, and timeshares not wanting to sell their land in 2010 to the Cosmo. So the Cosmo had to get creative, bring cruise ship architects to come in and help do the design. That way they were able to put a lot of stuff built around the Jockey Club and put a lot of stuff in a small amount of space. This created nooks and crevices for 3 hidden bars and 3 hidden restaurants here at the Cosmopolitan Hotel. Now inside the Cosmo, not so hidden, is a chandelier bar made of Swarovski crystal and glass. Absolutely beautiful. And if the Cosmopolitan really likes you and really likes your money, they're going to invite you to the 32nd floor casino called the Reserve, where minimum bet on table is $1 million. Who's ready to place that bet tonight? I know what we're all thinking. Pocket change. Now coming on to the Aria, I want y'all to pay attention to how the Aria and the Crystal Shops were built. In 2009, these are designed to be the most energy efficient buildings here in Paradise. And notice how I keep saying Paradise, because as we know, we're not the city of Las Vegas, but the city of Paradise. Take me down to Paradise. city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. I am pretty. This is my city. We'll take you down to Las Vegas a little later on in the tour. Now the Waldorf on their 23rd floor has a remarkable tea room, and this is where their lobby is. I will say this, you do not need to be a guest or have a reservation at the tea room in order to enjoy the view over at the Waldorf, and I'm pretty sure inside. Now casino, as far as movies go, it is actually pretty historically accurate of how Las Vegas started. Two movies I would recommend, Casino and Bugsy, so two amazing mob movies I would suggest. Now Park MGM is now the only non-smoking casino and hotel on the Vegas Boulevard, and this is where you're going to find Lady Gaga's dresses from the VMAs still on display today. Even if you're not a Lady Gaga fan, her dresses are pieces of art all on their own, so it's a really cool way to see some costume design. Like I said, I'm a sucker for the costume design. Too beautiful to burn. So what to do with a giant naked woman but to bring her to the city of Las Vegas, where she represents female hope and divine energy. Coming on to New York, the hotel's so nice we just had to name it twice, complete with a 1939 New York City skyline. We even have a version of a James Foley Island roller coaster where you can get the unlimited day pass and ride that bad boy for just $20. The Statue of Liberty stands 3/5 the size of Miss Liberty in New York City, pieced together, made completely out of industrial styrofoam. She does indeed float. The two flags in front of her represent the two fallen towers of 9/11. Coming to the Excalibur Hotel, our largest themed hotel here in Las Vegas. Though it might be hard to tell it's a themed hotel, right guys? Just a little bit? Now this King Arthur's Dream is complete with a knights tournament, a dinner show where 2 knights will be jousting it out for your viewing pleasure. And ladies, if you're looking for a different type of knight in shining armor, this is also where Tropic Thunder from Down Under performs. Ooh, spicy. And guys, not to make you guys feel left out, the guys from Tropic Thunder from Down Under and Magic Mike actually host a free dancing class in the Arts District where you are able to take home some moves with ya. Vegas is one of the only places that you can come back with a hobby, whether it be good or bad, is complete $2 million. Now, I don't know much about card tricks. I can't tell you about tricks on how to win those. But I do know one slot machine trick that has won me some luck over the years, and I would love to share the information with you guys. But here's my only stipulation. If you do win the big time, all I ask is you come back on the bus and give at least $10 of your jackpot to me, Chibi, and Chris. That way we can all split it. Does that sound fair, guys? All right. So, if you go to the Little Shop of Horse slot machine, Little Shop of Horse, that one, you're going to look for the plant with the most lime green ivy growth behind it. Don't know what I'm talking about? Google Little Shop of Horse slot machine and look at the images and you'll see what I'm talking about. You need to make sure the volume is on. This is